and brothers, this is being prohibited in Muslim countries. This is supposed to be only one Muslim country. The Christian religion, there is no Christian religion.
The true followers of the Christ, they are Muslim. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala mentioned about some of the haram in Surah Al-Ma'idah, the verse number 3. And also in the verse number 6, Allah mentioned about the ablution, the wudu. We purify ourselves before we make salah. And it's also mentioned about a bath, taking a ghusl or a shower. And Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala said that Allah, His intention is not to make an hardship for us, but the intention of Allah is to purify us, to clean us, and to perfect His blessings upon us. So we will become thankful to Allah. Yuridullah bikumul yusra, that Allah's intention is to make easy for us. The life become easy for us, and no hardship for us. When we see the obligation of Allah upon us, like wake up in the Fajr time, and you need to have a shower, and you need to have ablution before you salah, and you cannot pray without ablution. And then there are some restrictions. You cannot eat this, and you cannot eat this, and you cannot also eat this. And only you can eat those things which is halal. And also in the matter of the drinking, what should you drink, what you watch, and what you should not watch, what you do and what you should not do. So we see ourselves that there are lots of restrictions. And there are lots of obligations. What is Islam is? The Islam is about the obligations and restrictions. There are sets of obligation which we need to comply. And there are the sets of restriction which we should avoid. So in simply the Islam meanings, the do's and don'ts. You have to do something and you don't have to do something. That's Islam. Nothing else is Islam. What Allah wants us to do, we should do. And what Allah wants us to not to do, we should not do that. So the command and forbiddance. The commands and the forbiddance. And the people sometimes, some people Allah give very good iman, they don't feel anything anymore. They are happy to follow the commands of Allah. And they are very happy also to avoid what Allah is forbidden because of their perfect iman. But some Muslims who have a weak faith, they feel lots of hardship in obeying the commands of Allah and to avoiding forbiddance of Allah. And in the Quran, Allah explained it. That whatever Allah command us and whatever Allah forbidden us, it is good for us. It is good for us. This morning I was checking the statistics about the world statistics and about the Philippine statistics. You can go yourself, statista.com. Then you can check so many information there. One of the information I was checking about the death. The number one cause of the death in Philippines, I checked it. The number one cause of the death in the Philippines is heart attacks. And what they mention, it is not a Muslim website. It is a non-Muslim website. And they mention it, that why the people in the Philippines has a lots of heart attacks, and most of the people, number one death in the Philippines because of the heart diseases. And they mention it in the details, in the brief, in the explanation, that the Philippine people, they like the meat and they mostly like the pork. Yung mga tao sa Pilipinas, gusto nila karni, at karni gusto nila is baboy. That's why the most of the people, the number one cause of the death in the Philippines is heart disease. Number one. Number two is cerebrovascular disease. Number two is cerebrovascular disease. The brain and the connection with the heart, the vessels, the blood disease is number two. And what is the reason for that again? Pork. You can always see stroke. Why stroke? What is the reason of the stroke? Pork, baboy. So we can imagine that if the people will, in the Philippines, they become Muslim and they stop eating pork, They have a number, two largest disease will gone away from them. No heart attack, no the brain disease. And both of these disease is related to directly to the pork. And also to the blood, eating of blood. Because blood has lots of cholesterol, which also causing the heart problem and the problem for the brain diseases. Especially the stroke. Whatever Allah is commanding us in the Quran and through His Prophet in the Hadith, is everything good for us. Today, one of the largest cause of the people who are dying with is the cancer. Hundreds of millions of people in the world, they have a cancer disease. Different kind of cancer. The brain cancer, the lungs cancer, the pancreas cancer, the stomach cancer, intestine cancer, liver cancer. Hundreds of millions of people, they have a cancer disease, and they don't have any cure for cancer except you go and cut the cancer, surgery. And sometimes surgery is failed because the cancer will come back again. Reoccurrence. And only the cure for the cancer today in the world, which is 100% proven by a Japanese scientist, and he got the Nobel Prize of Peace. And that cure is fasting. Because when you fast, your body has no food, and your body needs the energy, and the energy will be provided by our fat cells. Because our fat cells will burn into energy, and we can run our life because we get the energy through our fat cells. Not just the fat cells, according to the study, even our cancer cell, which is extra cell in our body, they will also burn into energy. And at the same time, the cancer cells, when they get no nutrition in 14 hours during the fasting day, they already weaken, and at the same time, they will burn into energy. So person who fasts, he can get rid of cancer. Any kind of cancer. Bismillah. By the will of Allah. So if you can go around, not that I need this all so I can follow the command of Allah. No. I don't need this explanation to follow the command of Allah, because I will follow the Allah because He is my creator and He gave me the life. I am obliged to follow His commands. And I have no choice to not to avoid from what is forbidden to me. I have to do it. Because if I will not do it, He'll punish me. Not to follow His commands and not to avoid what is forbidden. If I will not do this, and He has the right to punish me. So I will do it. But these kind of things are very good explanation for us, so it can increase our faith in Allah. And it's also good for the weak Muslims who are feeling hardship to follow the commands of Allah. And it is also very good explanation for the non-Muslims, so it can attract them to Islam. Salah, for example. The Salah, the prayer, the ones we are going to pray now. What is the benefit of Salah? Of course, we make Salah to get communication with Allah. In fact, the meaning of Salah, or the Salat, the meaning of Salat in Arabic is communication. If you go to the Dubai, if you go to Middle East, what is the telecom company? The telecommunication company? Ittisalat. Ittisalat, the communication. Telecommunication. So Salat meaning is communication. Communication with whom? With Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. So every time you make Salah, you are making communication with Allah. You are talking with Allah. You are saying to Allah what you are feeling about Allah. You are praising Allah. We are praising Allah, and we are begging Allah for our goodness and to save us from the harms. When you make Salah, you get a peace of heart, peace of mind. You get rid of depression. You get rid of anxiety. You get rid of stress. The number one cause of the people are dying today. Number one cause. The people are dying with stress, depression, and anxiety. Not just the people are dying, the millions of people are committing suicide because of depression, because of anxiety, because of the stress. In fact, if you check about the suicidal rate in the world today, the suicidal rate not in the poor countries. Because poverty is not a big problem for the world. But the most of the people who make suicide in the world today are the rich countries. Like Japan. Japan is a very rich country, but many people in Japan, they make suicide. America, rich country, but people make suicide. Europe are rich countries, but they make suicide. And then the one of the best cure for the suicide, a person to depression, the cure for the depression, pray to Allah. Salah. The best position in the salah is sajda. Sajda, when you put down your head on the floor, and your head in downward, and your heart is up. Your heart is here, and your head is in the down. Whole day when you are sitting down and standing, your heart is down, your brain is up. So your heart has to pump the blood upward. So the heart will get tired, because heart has to bring the blood to the brain. Because if our brain doesn't get the enough blood, we get collapsed. We will die with coma. We'll get in the comator, and later a person will die, because the heart needs to pump the blood to the brain. So every day, the pumping of the heart is upward to the brain and whole body. So heart is getting tired, bringing the blood upward direction against the gravity. But when you go to the sajda, your heart is up and your brain is down. So you get the very good supply to the brain every day, 5 times a day. 5 times a day, you bring up your heart and you bring down the supply for the blood in the brain. The same time the blood get the good enough supply, and the same time your heart get relief. Whenever you are in sajda, your heart is very happy now. Because heart has nothing to do with hardship anymore. Because heart is going a free flow towards the gravity. Every command of Allah in the Quran and taught by the Prophet has a hikmah, the wisdom. Everything. I read about ablution. When you make ablution, all your veins get dilated, which is very good for the blood circulation. Every time you make ablution, 5 times a day, when you make weight your arm, your face, your legs, you are dilating your veins. Your vascular system is getting better because your veins are getting diluted because of the moisture. So it will improve the good blood circulation. There is no end for this. You can think about fasting, about salah, about charity. The people today, the rich people, they make a subdivision. And they kick out poor people. Because they think the poor people make crime. Why the poor people make crime? Because rich people are not giving charity. If the rich people will go and give charity to the poor people, the many of the poor will have no reason to make stealing anymore. Because sometimes the poor people, they steal because of necessity. They need money for the food, they need money for the medication, they need money for the emergency. And they are not righteous, they go for the evil way. So the rich people are pushing to the poor people to go for the choice of criminality. If all the rich people in the world, they give the proper charity which is prescribed by Allah in the Islam, 2.5% on your wealth every year, you get the hundreds of billions of dollars which can be remove the poverty from the world. Elimination. And if you stop the riba, no lending the money on interest, and there's another way to eliminate the poverty from the world. So every way, Allah is giving us a way to have a good life in this world. People are hating each other. They have so much anger in the heart. What is anger? What is hatred? The anger and the hatred is like a fire. And Allah prohibited the anger and Allah prohibited the hatred. Because it is not going to harm your opponent, but it's going to hurt your harm. Because you're putting fire in your heart. Then you get the high blood pressure, then you get the anxiety, you get depression, you get heart attacks, and you get so many complex diseases in your heart because of your anger and because of your hatred. And these things are prohibited by Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala in Islam. So these are some of the explanation about the commands of Allah and about the prohibitions of Allah, what the impact they give on our life. If we follow the commands of Allah, then Allah is going to be pleased with us and bring us in next life in Jannah, and also to give us a good life here. but our intention is for the next life. And if we will not do what Allah forbidden, then Allah will not be angry with us and not to punish us in the hellfire and also to save us from the bad life in this world. So may Allah save us, may Allah guide us to follow His command, and may Allah protect us to commit all what is forbidden. Ameen. Alhamdulillah Rabbil Alameen.
Thank you for watching, and please don't forget to share, like, subscribe, and comment.